Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Well, last episode, returning to trial, we learned that no poison was found in the tea used to make the coins, as William Shamspeare was called once more to the stand to talk about a tea inconsistency, as he stated that the tea he used was from Sozeki's unpoisoned cup, which we showed to be false using the stains on those cups. However, Prosecutor Van Zieks then suggested the victim use the remaining tea within the pot instead, with Shamspeare changing his version of events to match, which in turn led to the jury turning on us, with a summation examination now taking place. I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Hold it! All the evidence, you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache. Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. Which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind. If only we had that kind of evidence. Don't worry, this summation examination has barely started, really. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light. Let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock. I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. Hold it! This isn't the time or the place to be discussing the price of gas, madame. But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas and air is free. Why should Altamont gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever. This isn't the time or the place to be ruthless either. If I might interject here. Yes, madame? It seems my fellow driller takes issue with the price our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man that the cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man. That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and stealing gas. Utterly unforgivable. No, Mr. Natsume isn't the one who's been stealing any gas. I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes. Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It's as made up as the price of gas. Thanks. The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gases. Hold it! Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? Well, if you like. I mean, to be honest, I'd take poison over gas every time. You'd take poison? What I mean is, poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it? Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man. Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room. Ah! You're right! I hadn't considered that at all! Young lawyer man. Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you at our company's legal representative. Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. Anyway, the point is, I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past. Things like everything hinges on you. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. Hold it! Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so. She's really buzzing now. All I've heard about our wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison. Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madame. And nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable. My point exactly. But the gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know. More devious? Who, madame? Other gas companies, of course. Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting. We generate gas and we deliver to our customers fair and square. Indeed. Nobody is questioning that, madame. Altamont is an exemplary gas company. But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all. What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people? You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
And they steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with the household supplied by those pipes and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without us even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brazen form of theft. When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks. What's the issue, sir?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3? Oh, golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry. I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled up about it recently, you see. Go on. An ultimate gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation when we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in, and do you know what he did? I'm, afraid I have no idea. Please tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows, but it was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean? I'll explain, if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network. Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it? Obviously, there's gas in the pipes and it's at a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Ah, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe the lights of an adjacent property that has no contact with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker. The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might, and you can guess what happened, can't you? Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean... That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out, along with the stove. Gas started pouring into the house. What a disaster. The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard, so the flames went out. I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all, I said. So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room. Mr. Narahodo, I think perhaps... Yes, this is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for. Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh well, if you like, I don't mind. Well, I do. That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that try to diddle us. Like I said, madam, it's widely known already.
Very well. Juror number 3, you will amend your statement accordingly.
Yes, my lord. Although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Blow too hard into a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. So what do I match that to, considering I've got to pit? We haven't checked out everyone yet. Truth be told, the team my wife stood up for me is a little sketchy at times.
Hold it!
Again, I don't think this is relevant, but you never know. You mean it's poisoned? That's right. It's happened a tidy few times now.
This is most troubling indeed.
It's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get in at tea time, see? And I see her doing it, my wife. She gets that devilish look on her face, and she slips some white powder into my cup. And you drink it anyway. I was brought up proper, I was. If someone gives you a cuppa, you drink it. And what happened to you? What did it taste like?
It was god-awful, believe you me. Salty as hell.
Then I think perhaps what your wife put in your tea was salt.
No! So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, eh? Unbelievable. Let's move on, please. Okay, useless. If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
Hold it!
Does that mean if the victim could be shown to have ingested something else, you change your leaning?
Oh, sorry, what's that now?
Oh, I was just saying, if the victim did actually eat or drink something else on the night...
What's the matter with you?
Sorry?
I said if nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all?
I feel there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here. Compared to the other jurors who don't even appear to have anything to say about the case at all, it would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently. I suppose. The trouble is, he had selective hearing. Exactly. But still, this juror may well be the key to the breakthrough that we so desperately need. This is hopeless. No, it's not. We got it. There's no way for me to appeal to those people. I do think that the only way we shall overcome this difficult situation is by exposing the way in which Mr. Shamspeare was really poisoned. We have to prove that it happened some other way, and not via Mr. Natsume's tea. Yes, I know. The trouble is, I have absolutely no idea how it did happen. Yes, we do. Mr. Naruhodo, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten. Oh, like what? It's important to watch everyone involved and pursue people if they react to something someone else says. If you'd like me to remind you exactly what I mean, I'd be more than happy to, of course. Once again, Soseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands here. I probably owe it to my client to hear any advice my assistant may be able to offer. So perhaps I ought to let Suzuda-san remind me. Then again... Actually, I don't think there's any need. It's vital that we start trying to change these jurors' minds as soon as possible. Of course, I'm sure you're right. But if you decide you would like your memory refreshed, you need only ask, Mr. Naruhodo. Second time she's offered.
Right then.
How you are poisoned. You were poisoned by gas. I'm assuming the fact that he had like cracks in the masonry that was the window might have been the saving grace for his life here. Mr. Shamspeare. These two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statement you refer, counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other.
There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a manner of speaking, pass the victim's lips on the night in question.
What? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene to see if there were any traces of poison there? I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time. But the mouth of a gas pipe? Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. What a piece of work is a man! What are you trying to say, Mr. Shamspeare? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir! I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body.
Oh good lord!
Why would he be blowing?
Are they tasty then, gas pipes? Is that what he's saying?
Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him, For shame, madame, speaking like fancy. I assure you, I'm not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection!
This is no summation examination. This is a farce.
The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friend's conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to place his lips to the pipe that feeds it, it would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions. There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
Objection!
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shamspeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shamspeare has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it.
Alright, you've got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself. I'm really confused now.
So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that, time and time again, Mr. Shamspeare stood in front of his gas lamp. Well, I know what this is, where we're going to, but I really was not thinking that he was huffing his lamp. That's weird.
Take that!
What the? These are... Wait, what are they called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene.
A skin print, scoundrel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective, Mr. Hairlock Sholmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Shamspeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, that's black magic, isn't it? Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's that great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shamspeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here.
Around the hanging picture there. Indeed. Multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder. Could he have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it! The gas lamp! Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shamspeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp.
Right, what have you been up to, you nut?
I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you recall juror number 3's statement. What? Me now? When the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights and the gas stove to go out and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident wasn't an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shamspeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will.
Crikey!
Are you suggesting that the man purposely caused the gas to...
Objection!
Sounds like he's trying to murder Saseki.
Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination, I must host my learned friends out of disregard for the letter of the law. What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zeeks? This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints. Clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case.
But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by a great detective.
It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands. Certainly even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... Please, my lord, if I may. Miss Susato. It was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wish to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree.
You're right! Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide.
Juror number 3. Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
Okay, we got a doubler. What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy. Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise. No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's not fair dinkum evidence.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well done, Miss Susato.
If just one more juror changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue.
Thank you, Miss Susato, but I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success. Can't we share?
Why, Mr. Shakespeare, you seem to be losing your composure.
Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it.
Very well. Continue, counsel. I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty.
Now, the question is, I'm very interested in the results of this great detective's investigation of the scene. You can't even press, so if we're still going at things by the look of it, I'm still going to work on trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, look, these guys are considering things and they're changing their tune. Maybe you'd like to change your tune now? Why isn't juror number 4 with me?
Hold it!
All the evidence, you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with a big mustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on the night in question. What do you make of that?
What? Your so-called skin prints?
It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique, developed by the great detective himself. The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shakespeare had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was.
Well, yes, I won't deny that it's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides...
Yes?
Even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it?
Oh.
If you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance.
You do make a very valid point, sir.
What?
That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty.
No, wait! Look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is.
Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shakespeare really did blow down the gas pipe on the night in question? Okay, I can't prove it. I can present evidence. I have supporting testimony. Oh god, I can't remember. I can't prove it would be wrong. Because, you know, there's not very often ever in Ace Attorney that we choose the don't do anything thing. I can present evidence. Do. Do you really think it was strychnine? Like, I really didn't necessarily expect it to be poison in the end. This guy found dead is very interested. We haven't got to that yet. And here's the guy who died here at a point before. Evidence doesn't seem to be true. Oh my god, there's so much we haven't got to. There's nothing that really relates to this. So, if it's not, like, you know, presenting evidence, then it must be testimony. Anything here that can help? I've been comatose for days. Finds himself accused of another crime. Injury means he's confined to a chair. Witness. So I'm wondering, like, something here about gas poisoning. Which would mean that multiple people have been gas poisoned here. And that's the method of killing. I don't even know what I'm doing, so... I don't think it's evidence. No, in truth, I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there is witness testimony that substantiates it.
What's that? Testimony?
This is incredible! Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garadeb residence that night. Namely... He saw gas flicker, but he didn't see it go off. There's two people that were in that room on that night. Hadn't he already gone to bed? Oh man, I wish we could find some, like, more information or, like, check back further. Okay, so 1:30 a.m. was when he was found or something? Oh no, I can't even look at the evidence thing anymore. Oh great. It's either John Garadeb or it's Soseki Natsume himself because he was there. Soseki Natsume should have been the one who was awake and probably knew about gas usage a bit more of the rooms because he was in both. But he was looking at the... Well, also John Garadeb isn't in the court, and Soseki Natsume is. So I'm going to go with that logic, that if anyone's had testimony, of course, Garadeb hasn't actually testified. It's Soseki Natsume then. Yes. It takes me a while to get around to something sometimes, doesn't it? Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume himself. The defendant? At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. Even on that fateful night, it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into the bed, but before long, the stove went out and somebody tried to kill me. On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence or not? I vaguely remembered that. Good golly! So that Shamspeare fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose. Now hold your horses there. What would he do that for? Mr. Foreman. What is it, man? We cannot allow judgment to be passed while this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree there is more to this case than meets the eye. Got there with the process of elimination. Ah! Fair enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost. That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue.
As the defense had rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamspeare.
My lord, how can my humble Shamspeare serve thee?
What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination?
That is a question indeed. Well, we come to the end of yet another episode of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where I was a bit flummoxed at the end. Of course, sometimes it's like a week or more between the filming of an episode, so things do get foggy in this mind of mine, and it is hard to re-jog it, even though I know exactly, I still remembered, like, he was talking about certain things happening. It was just, where does it really want me to go? But with the process of elimination, with the removal of the things we think are less likely, we got there in the end. So, I ask you to join me next time as we get underway with William Shamspeare in a bit of a spot. I'll see you guys then.
Bye-bye.